It's getting pretty close to Halloween, so we brought in the ghost chair. We'll be
Nice
back
to
right
meet
after
you.
this. Well, here we are.
We got a late start.
We did get a late start, and I think we figured it out. We were kind of waiting on Chris, and then we realized he told us he wasn't going to be here.
That's very possible.
But we
Good
kind of sort
morning.
of didn't really remember that, but
I think he's not here. Well, the ghost is here today.
Ghost is here.
Good morning, Waffle from Beth. She's in the beautiful Branson Mow. It was a lovely sunrise this morning.
Is that
It was
right?
very pretty. Yes. Yes, and it tried to rain, and the lack of humidity was like, nope.
Yeah, well, it was raining. It's just the air sucked the rain right out of before it could hit the ground.
Yeah, evaporated.
On
Yes.
the way down.
So we have a ghost with us here today.
Yep.
If you'd like to name him, just put that out there as we're
drop it in the
approaching
comments.
Halloween.
Drop it in the comments, and we'll see.
Halloween's
if
like
we-
next week, isn't it?
Let's see. Today's what, the 22nd?
Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah, something like that.
We look
Yeah, 22nd. So
it's a
Halloween
week
is
from
in
Thursday.
9 days.
week from Thursday.
Week from Thursday. Yeah.
This is shaping up to be an interesting holiday season. Do you know why?
I don't know what you're thinking, but
It is the shortest time it can be between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
well, that's just depressing.
I know.
isn't it? We don't.
27 days.
Yeah, that's no good.
That's all we got.
We need a longer holiday season, not a shorter one. But my wife declared the other night that the holiday season begins like in the Halloween season. So
It definitely
we're
does.
considering ourselves in the holidays at this point. You know, we've started watching all the Halloween style television movies and such things. Speaking of, have you watched? Do you do Netflix? Do you have Netflix?
I think we currently have Netflix,
Okay.
yeah.
Have you watched Wednesday?
I started to and then stopped.
You stopped.
Yeah.
I think you should go back.
Okay.
We like it.
Is it good?
I think it's really good.
We started and I can't remember what it was. Watched a couple episodes and then just thought, I'm having that trouble with a lot of shows right now.
Yeah. Well, usually the reason that I start a show, if it's a newer show,
Yeah.
I start a show, 1 or 2 episodes in, there's some big homosexual, transgender
Something that
brouhaha, and
not
I'm
in
like,
line with your thoughts. Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out, and I'm just done. But I don't remember that. At least, I'll tolerate. It's like, okay, it's there.
Yeah.
Fine. If it's
Yeah.
if it just doesn't become the point and preachy
Yeah.
about it, it's like, fine, let it go. Kind of like real life, live and let live until you get preachy about it, and then
Until
just
you're
go-
all up in my
and then
face
I'm-
about
then I'm
it,
just
yeah.
done. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
out. So at least in this show Wednesday, which is a little surprising for Netflix because they're generally pretty preachy about stuff. They're not as bad as Disney.
They usually take a hard left at some point.
Yeah, hard left at some point. Well,
Yeah.
the season 2's coming out. That may be when they decide to do it because sometimes that's what they
Usually
do.
it's season 2.
They get
Yeah,
you hooked season 1,
I don't know.
and then season 2 they blow it all up.
I remember it being
ruin it,
entertaining, and it was one of those shows where it was too adult for the girls, and so we couldn't watch it together, and it didn't really make sense for me to wait until 10 p.m. to watch it.
And that,
you know
what
I mean?
I can see how having little girls there, that would have to work. But I don't have that problem.
Yeah, so. You don't. You got free range anytime you want to watch the show. That is complicated because you got to wait to watch a show until the kids are in bed, a lot of shows. And then by that time, you're like, do I really want to stay up another hour or two?
I just want to go to sleep.
Want to go to sleep. We got to sleep.
Indeed.
What do you think about that, Bob? That's what I've temporarily named the ghost. Oh, it's moving. Oh, yeah, he's moving. He's talking in the mic. You can see it.
I can't hear him, but...
Okay, Bob weighed in. It was good. It made sense.
I guess
it was a logical argument.
We didn't get any takers yet on our naming the comments, but...
So, we're in fifth summer. It's supposed to be like 80 degrees today.
I know, and I wore my jacket because, it was 40.
Because it's October 22nd.
And 40 when I got up-ish, and so, but it'll be gone, but...
goofy weather pattern we're in.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it's par for the course here around here, but anyway.
Yeah.
No, I have a long day, so I'm doing a little estate planning presentation here in the office tonight. So
nice.
It'll be 8 o'clock before I get home, so it's a nice little 12, 13-hour day.
Those are fun.
Is kind of not that unusual anymore. I was here last night till 7 working with some clients, and that's okay. It, beats having a job, I guess.
That's what I was having the conversation yesterday with people about how hard it is to hire good employees. And man, that's just going to get harder and harder, I think.
I think so.
Well, and what's an interesting thing is there's not a lot of sense of loyalty to companies or people anymore that hire. And, I see kind of both sides to that, because if you're not being treated well, then I get it. But if somebody is treating you well and you're working for them, there should be some loyalty there. Because it can go both. It should go both ways, I think. You should be loyal to your employees and your employees loyal to their employer.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I mean, I don't know. There's all different ways that you can go with that. Think about that. I mean, I'm told that unions at one point served a purpose. Because,
I'm sure they did.
The working conditions were terrible, and so they banded together and got that. But now it just seems like that as a whole, unions are just a societal detriment.
Well, they just take money from the workers. That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you've got union bosses living in mansions making millions of dollars.
That's
a year.
When you got a problem.
Because
there should be advocacy groups.
Yeah,
and there should be businesses.
Yeah,
those are two different things.
And here's the thing. I think that, and I don't know, I wasn't around then, but to me, I think that probably unions happened because people were impatient to have the problems of the day redressed, and so unions became a shortcut, whereas capitalist market forces would have ultimately won out there, particularly if people said, this is terrible, I'm not going to work here, but I'm going to go start my own deal across the street. I'm going to take my buddies and we're going to go start a new business and we're going to compete with this guy. I understand sometimes capital is difficult to come by, but it's, you find people all the time that start, they start their business by picking up cans, and they get enough money picking up cans that they can buy this and they can buy that and they can sell that, and they made a little money and they build a business. And then the next thing you know, they're Elon Musk or whatever. And it's so much easier now to start a business. I mean, you can just jump up and do something.
Yeah, it's easy to start a business. It's not easy to maintain it. It depends. Depends on the business.
Depends on what you do.
Yeah.
And there's so many side hustles.
The cost in it has gotten... The side hustle thing is an interesting deal. The side hustle thing... and the union stuff came up in the manufacturing times of, you had the Rockefellers, right?
Well, it was dangerous. I mean, they had kids crawling machinery.
They had kids. They didn't... There was no... manufacturing at its core is a difficult gig, right? Because it really requires 24/7 work for it to be super profitable, I think. And so that was the bleeding force of the union situation. Right or wrong, I don't know. That's what happened.
Well, and a lot of things start off good and they get south.
They get south,
I mean,
for whatever reason.
Did this guy, the longshoreman guy, did he not just completely? Did you see that?
What is this? I don't know anything about it.
Well, this was a few weeks ago, I guess. They had the longshoremen on strike. They're the guys that unload the ships.
Oh, the dock worker guys?
The dock worker guy. There you go.
Yeah,
dock worker guy. And he just basically gets on TV and is like, if you don't give us what we want, we're going to shut down the country.
Oh, that caused
and it's like,
the paper shortages.
Maybe that's not the right message you want to send. Especially when you're asking for, you've got members of your union that are already making substantially above the median wage, like double the median wage of the country. You're asking to basically go to triple the median wage, like $160,000, $170,000 a year.
Holy Moses!
Is what the wages they're asking for to do this job.
That's bonkers.
And, all the benefits on top of that you come with a union job and all that, and a moratorium on automation. Yeah.
That doesn't.
Well, I mean, if your
work.
job is unloading ships, you are substantially in danger
of automation,
of a robot taking your job, especially
100%.
When you're making $180,000 a year.
Yeah, because they don't have to pay the robot anything after it's developed.
Correct.
Other than maintenance.
Maintenance, for sure. And, and you just think about that. I mean, it's the whole Dutch Luddite thing when they went through all of that. It does nothing but hold back the advance of human flourishing and civilization.
Yeah.
And you got to look at that and say, you're just on the wrong side of everything here. You're asking.
Well, we have the ultimate sticky situation where we have wages that have risen like crazy over the past 5 years because of legislation and because of state and federal and because of a weird COVID demand situation too. So we had both, happen that affected this. And so guess what happened? Prices went way up.
Of course.
So now you got to make more money to pay for the crap that you want.
Which means your minimum wage did you zero good whatsoever.
Yes. And why no one understands that, I don't know.
I don't know. That's baffling.
I don't know.
That's just baffling to me.
That blows my mind.
People don't understand that the worst thing you can do for people making minimum wage is legislate an increase in minimum wage. It's terrible.
It doesn't.
It's not about
work.
how much.
Yeah.
It's not about what the number is on your check. It's got nothing to do with that. It's how much purchasing power you have.
You have, yeah.
And if your wages go up 10%, but prices over 4 years go up 50%, which they kind of have, you have less purchasing power even though you have more money. You may feel good about your $15 an hour.
Yeah, but you don't.
But it doesn't matter because I
here's
spent $7 on breakfast at McDonald's this morning.
So here's something interesting though. We talk about capitalism quite a bit on the show. So
I wonder why.
So here's a problem though. I absolutely had it happen to me in multiple jobs where I capped out on what I could make in that position, but there was no place for me to go after that because they weren't adding. So, the corporations kind of caused themselves some problems because and literally things were said like, we know your review was amazing, but you're at the max you can be. We can give you this bonus, which 60% of it was eaten by taxes when you got those bonuses. Sure. And they were never very much money. They really were just like maybe one paycheck, maybe. Why did they do that?
Yeah, no, to me it's self-defeating. And of course, no system is perfect. Nobody's claiming anything is perfect. We're just saying this is the best we got. It's like a constitutional republic. Best form of government you can possibly have. Capitalism, best form of economics you can possibly have. Is it the best? Is it perfect? Is it the best?
It's not
Yes.
perfect. No.
Is it perfect? No. Nobody's going to be perfect.
Well, again, people come in and muck it up because people are people. Yeah.
And corporations like that are ultimately self-defeating. And the reason they're not perfect is because all of these systems inherently are run by imperfect people.
Yep. Well, and the bigger you are, the more imperfect people running things,
sure.
the more, and that's...
You have more imperfect people involved.
You have more mistakes.
And you end up with a whole bunch of people running your corporation that understand economics so poorly, just like the people that think minimum wage is a good idea.
Correct. Good morning, Diana.
Hey, awesome. We have another viewer. That's good. I kind of
several
think
right now.
I'm pretty well settled in my mind that we have laws of physics that are immutable.
Sure.
I mean, gravity's gravity. I think the laws of economics are equally immutable. They are what they are. You're not going to change them no matter how much you wish things were different.
Yeah.
And just like gravity, you can build an airplane and you can overcome gravity for a short period of time. But it's coming back
It'll
now.
come back around.
And I think it's the same thing with the economy. You've got all this legislation and you've got all this stuff, and people try to manipulate the economy, but the laws are there, and you can overcome the natural consequences of an economy for a short period of time, but ultimately it's going to return to zero.
This is a good transition into the post that you shared about from a person that doesn't believe the same way you do, who said, stadiums are full, restaurants are full. Could you imagine if the economy was good?
Doing well.
Doing well. And your comment was
bread and circuses. And
I had to look that. Like I said, I knew what it meant just by reading it, but I had to look it up. I had to look up the origin, and it was a Roman satirical poet. What'd they call him? Satirical writer, or something like that.
I forget.
He wasn't called like a
whatever.
Satirist. He wasn't. Yeah. So, and basically at its core, this was the Roman government providing bread and free wheat, I think it was, and
the gladiators.
And entertainment for the people.
To keep them distracted.
To keep things at surface level.
Yeah, to keep them distracted from the shenanigans they were pulling. It's the same thing.
One of the biggest problems we have going on right now is we are keeping things at surface level. We are not diving deep into anything.
We're too entertained.
Yes.
We're too entertained.
Too distracted.
And we're not paying attention.
Too entertained, and we're not paying attention.
Yeah, and it's by design. I mean,
100%.
We can have a conversation at some point about whose design it is. I don't think it's a human design. I think it's a spiritual design.
Sure.
Ultimately, that's where it comes from. But here we are, and all that. But, side hustles, I'm going to go back to that because I think it's easy because I've started about 1 million of them.
Oh, I know. You're the side hustle king.
Have you seen my recent side hustle?
I don't know if I have or not.
I've released like 20 songs on Spotify.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that side hustle. Yeah.
We're making music now.
We're making music.
And it pays royalties.
There you go.
Yeah, people stream that stuff, you get a royalty. Then it goes,
there you go.
Just get paid.
The side hustle thing is interesting, though, because there's productive side hustles, and then that people... Okay, let's step back a notch.
Yeah.
For it to be a side hustle, you have to have a primary hustle.
Well, that's true. Otherwise, it's just a hustle.
It's just a hustle. One of the challenges in the modern labor market is you have a lot of people who are working side hustles as their primary hustle.
That's right.
Okay, so they're not committed to a full-time, I don't even want to say job, because you can be a full-time parent, you can be a full-time caretaker,
absolutely.
You can be a full-time hourly worker, you can be a full-time salaried worker, you can be a full-time entrepreneur. But I think we have a problem where a lot of folks in that category I just mentioned, which should basically be everyone on the planet, are not really focused on their primary job.
Well, that's a good point. But the question comes to mind is, what's the difference between an entrepreneur and somebody who just has side hustles? It's kind of
usually the entrepreneur has a primary hustle.
Yeah, that's right. There's something
like you're a lawyer, Will.
Right. There is something that's kind of paying the bills while you do all the other stuff.
I am completely not against side hustles, although I am amused by people's take on a lot, not you necessarily, because you actually know how to make things, work. There's a lot of people who are constantly doing a side hustle that doesn't result in anything.
Yeah. Well, and
then it's just a distraction at that point.
What I think is interesting sometimes about the side hustles that people bring to you or you run across or they approach you to be a customer or a client's like, there's nothing, you're offering nothing of value.
No.
Like nothing.
No. Like
it's like I'm not sure what's in it for me.
The current side hustle is sourdough bread. Okay. That's the current side hustle. There's millions of side hustles out there, but the current one that seems to really be catching some trend right now is sourdough bread. Okay. So, people are baking sourdough bread And they have decided that it is healthier for them than, commercially mass-produced bread. Which, anything you make in your kitchen, there's a good chance is a little healthier.
Yeah.
But it's still made with ingredients that are being, mass manufactured.
Well,
so
I guess.
And grown. But who knows? So it probably is better for you. And I'm sure someone out there is going to scream at me for not understanding the healing powers of sourdough bread.
Well, it's gluten though. I mean, there's a whole other crowd that's like, that's just poison.
Yeah. So, but that seems to be, and this changes all the time, which is why I'm kind of giggling about it, because when it's not sourdough bread, it'll be something else. But so anyway, people are making their own sourdough starter, which I've never tried to do that. And they're baking bread and they're selling it to their friends or at farmers markets, which I think is wonderful. Obviously ran a farmers market for a while. I think it's wonderful.
Yep. It's a side hustle.
It's pretty expensive.
Running the farmers market was like a side hustle.
It's a side hustle. Yeah. I said I didn't make any money. There was no money.
It was a nonprofit. You were doing it for a nonprofit.
So it wasn't a side hustle. It was
Friends of the Park.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there was
community service.
Yeah, it was community service.
Non-court ordered community service.
If I ever get in trouble with the law, can I be like, can I retroact?
You'd be surprised how many people ask me that. No.
I really feel like I should be able to, but anyway. So I think it was a passion of mine is a good way to put it in a community service. So, which I think is great, but I don't think the side hustle people who primarily do that instead of having a primary job with side hustles quite understand that often they're not making money because time is money.
Yeah, that's right.
And ingredients are money, and electricity goes into baking bread, and there's all these nuances of profit.
There is actually a really good episode explanation of that in an episode of The Big Bang Theory. It's probably season 1, 2, or 3.
I've watched it all, but I won't remember.
It's where Penny is making the penny blossoms, the little pins that go in the hair.
Okay.
And, she's all thrilled about, hey, she made money. And then Sheldon does the math and it's like, you made 7 cents an hour.
Yeah.
She's like, Oh,
I think about this with real estate all the time.
Yeah.
If I clocked my hours, my hourly rate, I don't know what it would be.
Yeah.
It would not be good. It would not be good. But it still manages to be a beneficial job, obviously. But no, on something like I don't think people have much grasp on their profit on the side hustles.
And ultimately, that's what stops me from doing a lot of things is because I really don't want to talk about what my actual computed hourly rate is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's just not much that I can do that comes close to that. And so anything that I do on the side has just got to be 90% for fun.
Yeah.
And if it makes a little jingle,
make a little cheddar, okay.
Yeah, then okay. Yeah.
Well, we talk about that in real estate because JR and I primarily we're full-time realtors who that's our primary job, has been for a long time. And we have a side hustle, if you will, of we buy and sell property. And we've talked over and over, like flipping. Everybody wants to flip houses. They think it's so fun. If you flip a house and you lose a real estate deal because you were distracted because you were flipping a house, it completely eats it. And you really don't know. It's hard to measure because these projects distract you from your primary role. And it's like, am I really making more money than I'd be making if I was just that much more focused on that? But again, it's because we like to do that. We like to fix properties. So you got to be really picky. In our minds, we have to be really picky and choosy what side projects we take on because there's a good chance it'll distract us from a real estate transaction.
That's 100% true. And that's why I don't go to court anymore. It's not profitable for me to do that. Well, I don't like it. I got tired of it. I mean, I used to love it, but I got tired of it.
It's just gross. Everything about it's gross.
Yeah, it is now. It is now.
It is, yeah.
But honestly, it's a money losing proposition for me to spend that much time in court for what I can get paid to go to court.
Well, and you're spending a lot of time spinning your wheels.
Oh, 100,
and
sitting there.
That is my number one challenge to people who are going to vote. I'm going to say vote liberal, I think is the best way I can say it. I challenge that person to spend, and a lot of them have, a lot of government workers have been, traditionally Democrat because it
Self-preservation
keeps their job.
Yeah.
But trying to get anything done in the government realm, folks, if you've been in that role for so long and you get out of that role, you can see how quickly things can get done in the private sector with the right people. Mm-hmm. Now, there's private sector people that love to spin their wheels as well. I can't tell you the amount of mind-numbing meetings I've had over the years that have no purpose and don't do anything to be productive.
That meeting should have been an email.
And that's another self-preservation thing. People justifying their role, which is one of the biggest problems in capitalism in America, is my opinion, is people get comfortable in roles and then they try to preserve them. That's just the facts.
Well, there's wonderful ways to preserve your role, and that's to be productive.
Be productive, yeah. But it all gets to the too big to make sense anymore model, which is the problem with our government.
Yeah, I guess it's all too big. I'm always torn. Where we've got problems right now is we have this huge. We'll just call it a marriage.
Hold on, I gotta pause you.
Okay.
Beth, have you heard sourdough causes PTSD because it was a big rage during COVID? Really? Can't figure that one out in my mind.
Wow. Okay. But you get this huge marriage between...
Triggered by sourdough. Okay, now you can go back.
I know. Corporations, the government, and the media are all in the same little groove.
100%.
And that's not capitalism. That's cronyism. And, it's...
Yeah.
And you said liberal. I don't think we have any liberals anymore. We've got conservatives and we've got leftists. And they're just not the traditional liberals that we used to have.
No,
because you get along with them.
Well,
you could have a conversation. And really, it was okay either way. It was going to be all right.
It was fine. It was now, 100% fine.
And now it's kind of not. This leftist stuff
honestly, it balanced the system kind of like it's supposed to be balanced, because that is the way the system is designed, is to have some representation of
the way
more than one side.
The way the system was designed, when you read the Federalist Papers and everything talk, is a constitutional republic was designed to rightly govern a moral society, a society made up of moral people. And we don't have that anymore, and that's why it's all falling apart. We do not have a common set of morals and a common agreement about what is right.
Oh, that's 100% accurate.
And that's ultimately...
Yeah, that's why we're in the mess we're in.
Yeah. It really is. And we can talk for a long time about why that is. But
sure.
The real question is it recoverable? I don't know.
I'm at the point where I don't think it is.
Yeah, I kind of don't
now,
think it is
my biggest concern is, what does that lead to? How level of scary are we going to get?
Well, the reason it's scary is because if you consider that the United States potentially is the last bastion of freedom currently, there is nowhere else to go. I don't know if we go to Argentina, because they're doing pretty well down there. With that Javier Milei guy, he fired 80% of their government, which got.
Well, hopefully Javier keeps up to the straight and narrow, because that's usually the problem.
We're planning to go check him out in June, see how that's doing.
See it's going.
Zambia looks pretty good over there, but
Zambia, so random. Will,
it's not random. I've looked at it. It's actually not bad. They're constitutionally a Christian nation.
Oh goodness,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an interesting world. We've had a classic, serious conversation on the waffle this morning.
Semi-serious.
Semi-serious with some sourdough thrown in there. And please make sourdough. Don't get me wrong. It's not. And if you love making sourdough and selling at farmers market, do that.
Just beware of the PTSD.
Just make sure that you're focused on your primary hustle, which could be a caregiver, raising children, whatever. Just make sure you're not. I feel like a lot of people are losing focus of the most important stuff and way focused on the surface level stuff.
Oh, 100%.
Way focused on
that's where they want you.
That's why we have these deeper dive conversations.
Bread and circuses, people.
Bread and circuses.
Well, thanks for joining our circus this morning.
It is a circus in its own way.
Bob says bye.
Oh, my goodness.
We'll be next week. We'll be back next week.
Bye, Bob.
Bye, Bob. With more Morning Waffle. Bye.